Hey everybody, Kyle Goethe here from GoatFilmReviews.com and the Goat Film Reviews YouTube channel. And we've got another unboxing for you, and this one's kind of a unique one, not opening up anything specific from Arrow or Criterion or any of those kind of groups. I'm instead unboxing a package I received from Creator VC and the studio behind the In Search of Darkness franchise. They sent me this box because I was a backer of In Search of Darkness Part 3. So I thought we'd open it up and see what goodies I got in here and just talk a little bit about the process of backing a project of theirs. So we got that. All right, so first of all, they always got to send a card telling you what they're doing next, and you know what? That wins for me because it just reminds me to back their project. So of course there are the 3 In Search of Darkness films. There's also In Search of Tomorrow, and I guess tied in is In Search of Last Action Heroes, their action documentary. And if you don't know what the franchise is, In Search of Darkness is a trilogy of films all about 80s horror, and they go through it year by year, breaking down a couple of classic films from every year, and then doing some kind of behind-the-scenes stuff. They're called super docs because each one of them is at least 4 hours in length. I think this last one for In Search of Darkness Part 3 comes in close to 6 hours. And they each kind of take their time going through that. In Search of Tomorrow is the variation that is going to be that is sci-fi based. There's a sequel of that coming out. And then there was In Search of Last Action Heroes, which was an action one. That was a little bit less structured, I guess, than these ones were. But we're also apparently going to get In Search of Legends, which will be a fantasy-based one. And I was really hoping, there was for a while one called Nightmare Industry, which was all about Italian horror. And I think that got going prior to the pandemic, if I remember correctly. And just, I'm assuming it stopped happening because of the pandemic, because getting Italian filmmakers all together and the whole cross journey of trying to get all these people foreign and domestic was going to be very expensive. I'm assuming that's why it didn't happen. But they did send a card that says this summer we're getting In Search of Darkness Part 2, or In Search of Tomorrow Part 2. I was a backer on the first one, so the journey into 80s sci-fi continues. We also have In Search of Darkness 1990 through 1994, which is the first of a 2-part series on 90s horror. So I'm really excited about that idea too. And the fact that they're already planning 2 films, so this way you can do your 5 years and then kind of go back, and so you can spend more time in each year. Whereas the In Search of Darkness films, the first one went 80 to 89, and the second one went back through them because they didn't know they were going to make a second one. And so they got to do some more films from every year. And then the third one goes back through it again. So this is kind of more of a structured, we know there's going to be 2 films. And that works out pretty well for me. So also in here we've got a cool little pin. Let me unwrap that so we can take a better look without that cellophane on it. So here's the pin. It's the front cover of the film. Let me try and get a little bit of less gloss. I'll put a picture up here so you guys can see it better. But I'm not a huge pin collector, but I put them on my writing bag so I can kind of have some jingle jangle and some cool looking stuff there. They've also got a card here, the In Search of Darkness Lifetime Membership Card. I already scanned, there's a QR code on the back. I scanned that so I could get access to some really cool deals that are available to people that have backed a number of their projects. I think that's a really fun way to celebrate your fans, so I'm all excited for that. We have also got some posters. Let me take a look at what these are here. I've already got one of the In Search of Tomorrow posters up on the back wall. I'll probably put the rest of these posters up eventually there as well. So there's 3 posters here. I'll try to look at them one at a time here. So this one is very much their, I don't know, their poster looking kind of like a video store kind of aesthetic. I really like this one. It reminds me of just kind of those smaller town video stores, which are the ones I've always been pretty big on. And what's the number? The second poster here looks more in line with kind of what the trilogy has had. Each film kind of has, that kid in front of the TV set poster, and then the 3 for the 3 parts that are in the film, and then each one's kind of got some images in there as well. So it's pretty cool. And then the last one is the actual, I guess you could say the theatrical poster, the poster that would be with the release, and it's on the Blu-ray of the film, that poster right there. So, yeah, pretty cool posters. I really like these. I'll probably put a couple of them up. All right, and last but not least, we've got the film itself. And I had something special tacked on because I I was a fan of the franchise. So here's what we've got here is we've got In Search of Darkness 3, The Final Journey into 80s Horror. So that's that poster we were talking about right there. Slide that open. And then it's got the other poster, I guess, on the inside of the cover. Inside of the cover there. Let's see, let's open this up. Okay, so we got this thing unwrapped here. Inside we have our standard disc. This is not rated, so be careful, people. And then it came with a little booklet here that's inside that's got just kind of a foreword from actor David Dastmalchian, who, he's been part of the DC films, the Marvel films. There's an image of him right at the top on the left there. That's not a very good image, but he also hosted the Chainsaw Awards for Fangoria recently, so you probably know his face if you don't know his name. It's also got a message from writer-director David Weiner. Film's checklist, which is kind of cool. I think this is every film that's in the third film here. So not all three films, but every film in the third film. And then just Robin Block, the executive producer, writes a little piece on here, and some of the faces behind the work. It just kind of dives into some of the stuff that they appreciated about this, and nice little booklet, basically. So we've got, In Search of Darkness, Part 3. And then I got something kind of special for mine because I also had In Search of Darkness Part 1. I didn't back this one originally. I didn't realize it was a thing, but I saw a friend of mine post about it online. So I purchased this one when I backed In Search of Darkness 2. So I got all three films, and I thought, it'd be really great when they made 3 available is they actually sent it out where you could add this on. It is a box set for In Search of Darkness. So it's actually got a slot for all 3 films. You should be able to fit it in here. And it says The Complete Journey into 80s Horror, which I think is kind of a cool little box to have then. And they fit in here pretty well too. So it's got that little thing on the side, holds the 3 films on there pretty nicely. I really dig what this box set is. Now, I will be clear, they do get kind of stuck in there. So you will have to kind of jolly them to get them out a little bit. But they fit in there nice enough, and they'll be on the shelf looking pretty cool. So I'm really excited to watch this third film again. I already had a chance to watch the digital version of it. And if you haven't experienced In Search of Darkness or anything that's going on with that franchise, you can find all 3 films in the franchise actually are available for streaming right now on Shudder. And if you're a fan of 80s horror, you probably have Shudder, so you can take a look at it over there. Once you do that, go ahead and check out... if you'd like to be interested in Search of Tomorrow, which is the sci-fi film, go to www.80scifidoc.com. And if you want to check out the In Search of Darkness 90 to 94 edition, that's hopefully going to start production October 2023. That's 90shorrordoc.com. So you can check out those if you want to join up with the club, get some cool merch like this. If you haven't had a chance, I think they're doing a flash sale on a lot of these products on their website soon. And if you miss out on that, go ahead and back one of the other projects. Usually you have an opportunity to add one of these on as an additional purchase with that. That's how I was able to get the first film at the same time. So do that. And there you have it. That is In Search of Darkness Part 3. A little unboxing video for me as a backer to take a look at what goodies I got. Big thing for me is the movie. I like to have a physical copy of the movie. My physical media library. I like to have physical versions of the films that I back. And just, tacking on the box set thing was kind of cool because now it just has a spot on my shelf where it's going to look fantastic and I can pull it off and watch it whenever I want. Sit nice or snug next to In Search of Tomorrow and whatever else they end up doing. Because I really enjoy what these super docs are. The way I view them is I thought internally, why would that be something that people would enjoy? But at the same time, I watched Never Sleep Again, the Nightmare on Elm Street doc, all the time. I watched the Crystal Lake Memories, which is the Friday the 13th doc, which runs about 6 hours long all the time. I know all the facts behind them, so why do I keep watching it? It's just for that kind of nostalgic thing. I compared the In Search of Darkness films to, you remember VH1 had the I Love the 80s miniseries, and they did the 90s and the 70s, and then they kept going back to them and kind of re-jumping around them. That's kind of what these are, but they're for 80s horror fans. So instead of being I Love the 80s, for everything, for pop culture, it's specific to the horror genre, or in the Tomorrow, it's specific to sci-fi. It's like that for me, where it's kind of just it's a comfort food. I could put this on, have a pizza, hang out, relax, kind of be in the mood to kind of revisit these films. It's also a great like watch list creator because um, I'm a horror hound, and I found at least 300 movies between just background images or stuff discussed on these films that I've never seen before. And it's like, how have I missed those? So, grab a notepad when you watch them because I think you'll really enjoy that. Thank you guys for joining me for this little unboxing video. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these kinds of contents and episodes in the future. I'd love to deep dive into some more stuff. I don't back a ton of stuff online. I have to kind of be proven it first. And In Search of Tomorrow kind of did that or In Search of Darkness did that for me. I had enough people tell me, no, you've got to be a part of this. Let me show you how it works. That I actually backed it, even though it's not really my forte usually. So, yeah, thank you guys for joining me. You can find all my film reviews over at goatfilmreviews.com. You can find Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Almighty Goatman on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. You can find my show, Kyle and Nick on Film, that I co-host with Nick Plotchuk from the St. Paul Filmcast. I've got those links down in the description, so you can find all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.